This is LCM TV News at noon. Thank you for joining us. In national and international news, I'm Pete Schiffman, folks. I never don't like to call myself my name. Anyway, in national and international news today, police rescued a 101-year-old man from under the rubble of his home on Saturday, 1 week after an earthquake hit his country, a Nepal police spokesman told CNN. The elderly man is in stable condition, and police do not know how he survived or the extent of his injuries. He was rescued in Nawatko district, just southwest of the capital, Kathmandu. The death toll from the devastating magnitude 7.8 earthquake that struck Nepal last weekend stands at 7,250, and the number of people injured is 14,122, according to the National Emergency Operations Center. Two nuclear-capable Russian bombers reportedly intruded into the U.S. air defense zone near Alaska last week. The Washington Free Beacon, citing defense officials, reports that the Tu-95 Bear H bombers flew into the zone on April 22nd, but no U.S. jets were dispatched to intercept them. Navy Captain Jeff Davis, a spokesman for NORAD, declined to confirm the incursion to the Times, but said that no jets were dispatched to intercept intruding aircraft. The incident was the first Russian bomber incursion of a U.S. or Canadian air defense zone this year. It likely signals the start of Russia's long-range aviation training cycle, officials said. Leading Persian Gulf states want major new weapons systems and security guarantees from the White House in exchange for backing a nuclear agreement with Iran, according to U.S. and Arab officials. The leaders of the Six-Nation Gulf Cooperation Council, which includes Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, plan to use a high-stakes meeting with President Obama later this month to request additional fighter jets, missile batteries, and surveillance equipment. They also intend to pressure Obama for new defense agreements between the U.S. and the Gulf nations that would outline terms and scenarios under which Washington would intervene if they are threatened by Iran. The topic of marijuana reform in the United States took an interesting turn on Capitol Hill earlier this week, when a number of congressional leaders blamed the recent eruption of violence against Baltimore law enforcement on the failed exploits of the American drug war. During a press conference to discuss the reintroduction of the legislation to legalize money generated by the cannabis industry, federal lawmakers took the opportunity to point out that Baltimore would not be in its current state of fiery disarray if not for the misaligned policies Uncle Sam has imposed against the possession of controlled substances. Congressman Blumenauer of Oregon took the podium on Wednesday to explain how the war on drugs has manifested a seething undertow of tension across the nation, spawned by decades of filthy police state tactics aimed at locking up otherwise law-abiding citizens for the possession of a plant. Representative Dana Rohrabacher of California, who also attended the press event, explained that police shakedowns for marijuana have become a scourge on civil society. Freddie Gray was allegedly selling pot when he was arrested. Things could be returned to normal in Baltimore. However, as the city has lifted its curfew, the National Guard is preparing its exit, and a mall that has been a flashpoint in the riots has been reopened. Bringing to a head a 16-month federal investigation into the George Washington Bridge Lane closing scandal, a judge in New Jersey unsealed indictments of two people close to Governor Chris Christie of New Jersey at a count hearing on Friday. Bill Baroni, the former deputy executive director of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, and Bridget Ann Kelly, a former deputy chief of staff to Mr. Christie, was expected to be indicted. The news comes from David Wildstein, another former Port Authority official and ally of Mr. Christie, pleaded guilty for his role in the lane closings. George Soros may soon face a monumental tax bill, nearly $7 billion, after years of playing hard to get with the IRS. Despite Soros having advocated for higher taxes on the wealthy, the liberal billionaire reportedly has delayed paying his own for years, thanks to a loophole in the U.S. law. That loophole was closed by Congress in 2008. But before that, Bloomberg reports, Soros used it to defer taxes on client fees. Instead, he reinvested them in his own fund, and they grew tax-free. Bloomberg cited Irish regulatory filings, reported that Soros had made $13.3 billion in this way. Factoring in the various tax rates that would apply, one tax expert estimated that this would leave Soros with a roughly $6.7 billion bill. For those of you who follow the royal family, the Duchess of Cambridge and her newborn baby daughter left London's St. Mary Hospital Saturday after a safe delivery. Kensington Palace said the baby was born at 8:34 a.m. London time and weighed 8 pounds 3 ounces. Prince William was with his wife at the hospital, along with the couple's son, Prince George. The couple and their newborn greeted the media before heading home. Almost half of the 17 Obamacare state insurance exchanges are reportedly suffering financial difficulties, posing a significant challenge to state officials just 5 years after the passage of President Obama's signature health care law. The Washington Post reports that many of the marketplaces set up by the states and the District of Columbia are being hit by high cost and tepid enrollment numbers. In response, officials at state level are mulling raising fees on insurers, sharing costs with nearby states, and are calling for more money to be infused into the system. Some officials are even considering handing over their exchanges to the federalhealthcare.gov, an exchange that has widely reported problems of its own. Dean G. Skelos, the influential head of the New York State Senate, and his 32-year-old son are expected to be arrested on federal corruption charges this week, according to people with knowledge of this matter. The expected arrest, coming roughly 3 months after federal bribery and kickback charges led Assemblyman Sheldon Silver to step down as Speaker, would mark an extension of the investigation into allegations of political corruption in Albany, and would almost certainly further upend the legislative session. After more than a decade of wrenching national debate over the intrusiveness of government intelligence agencies, a bipartisan wave of support has gathered to sharply limit the federal government's sweeps of phone and internet records. On Thursday, a bill that would overhaul the Patriot Act and curtail the so-called metadata surveillance exposed by Edward Snowden was overwhelmingly passed by the House Judiciary Committee. It was heading to almost certain passage in the chamber this month. An identical bill in the Senate, introduced with the support of 5 Republicans, is gaining support over the objection of Senator Mitch McConnell, Republican of Kentucky, who is facing the prospect of his first policy defeat since ascending this year to majority leader. The push for reform is the strongest demonstration yet of a decade-long shift from a singular focus on national security at the expense of civil liberties to a new balance in the post-Snowden era. For a made-up military mission, the Western Region exercise called Jade Helm 15 is impressively elaborate. The 2-month simulation planned for this summer spans much of the Southwest, including Southern California, requiring special forces from 4 branches of the military to carry out covert operations amid hostile territory in Texas, Utah, and part of California. In at least one of those states, hostility towards the operation has begun a few months early. Online and in-person meetings, many Texans have expressed suspicion and outright opposition to the project. Some are understandably worried about how it'll affect their daily lives, while conspiracy theorists claim it's an attempt to institute martial law, possibly in collusion with Walmart, drawing a correlation between closed Walmarts and command locations. In response, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, Republican, has ordered the State Guard to monitor federal troops there during the exercise. During the training operation, it is important that Texans know their safety, constitutional rights, private property rights, and civil liberties which will not be infringed. This, according to Abbott, wrote in a letter to Major General Gerard Betty of the Texas State Guard Tuesday. Lieutenant Colonel Mark Lastoria, the command spokesman said at his Bastrop information session last week, according to KXAN News. What I want them to know is we're going to be conducting the training exercise safely and courteously. We're not going to interfere with their privacy or their rights with us. With this, folks. Monsanto has approached the Swiss agrochemicals company, Syngenta, about a takeover almost a year after a previous attempt failed, according to Bloomberg News reports, citing people familiar with the matter. Combined with Syngenta, Monsanto would become the largest player in the world for both seeds and crop chemicals, and a formidable competitor to Bayer AG, BASF SE, and Dow Chemical Company. Basel-based Syngenta is the world's largest maker of crop chemicals, whereas St. Louis-based Monsanto is the largest maker of seeds and dominates the global market for genetically modified crops like corn and soybeans. However, even if both companies can agree to the merger, they would face antitrust hurdles. Before a packed audience at the Detroit Music Hall, Detroit native Ben Carson officially kicked off his presidential campaign Monday morning. "I'm Ben Carson, and I'm a candidate for President of the United States," he said. He may not have the pedigree or the political experience for the race, Carson said. "I'm not even asking people to vote for me. I'm just asking people to listen," he said. "The real pedigree we need to heal this country is someone who believes in our Constitution." With a rough life in the beginning, Carson, at 33, became the youngest director of pediatric neurosurgery at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore. He was the first to successfully separate a set of conjoined twins who were attached at the back of the head, and the first to successfully place an intrauterine shunt for a hydrocephalic twin. His right-wing conservative viewpoints adds him to a long line of like candidates in the GOP. In a television interview, Carly Fiorina, former CEO of Hewlett-Packard, says she is seeking the Republican presidential nomination. In spite of no experience in politics and a failed bid to be elected senator in the last election, she is moving forward with her quest. Coming up next is the regional news. We'll be back in a moment.
You're invited to participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music, talk shows, and local programming, all streaming in high definition online and soon to be on your Roku box. Join us at lcm-tv.com or be a part of our studio audience. You can also watch the shows at lakecomagazine.com as we provide programming to inform, enlighten, and maybe even enrage you. On Lake County Magazine Talk Show with Terry and Pete the Tax Guy, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Like racing? Try the Checkered Flag Show, hosted by Ace Naylor on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. All ages and divisions in regional and national fields. Joni Lane brings a positive light to you every Monday at 3 p.m. Pasha Space brings an international flair as they discuss ecological, health, and social issues in Haiti with people around the world. End up your week with positive, conscious sounds on Saturday at 9 a.m. with Sister T on the Bridge. This show is also simulcast on KMEC 105.1 FM in Ukiah. Our latest show, LCM TV News, is brought to you live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, and rebroadcast at 6:30 p.m. and noon daily, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring national, regional, and local news, weather, and sports. We have it all here for you on your local TV station, LCM TV. Join us online and soon on Roku, giving you access to all the best Lake County has to offer. We are LCMTV.com, your multimedia connection. Tune in for the fun. It's live TV at its best.
In regional news, a Petaluma man convicted of 3 murders who shot at federal agents with an AK-47 rifle when they came to arrest him was sentenced Friday to life in prison, the U.S. Attorney's Office said. Victor Flores, 23, received a sentence from U.S. District Judge Susan Ilston, federal prosecutor said. Flores, who went by the nickname Little Creeper, was a member of the 500-block C Street gang in South San Francisco in 2010, when he and a co-defendant shot at 7 suspected gang rivals, killing 3, prosecutors said. When federal authorities came to arrest him 2 years later at his family's McNeil Avenue home, he fired 2 full magazines from an assault rifle at special agents from the LA response team of Homeland Security Investigations, wounding 3 agents, prosecutors said. 3 members and associate of a Santa Rosa gang were sentenced Friday to prison for their participation in a racketeering conspiracy to commit violent crimes, the U.S. Attorney's Office said. The men, all tied to Barrio South Park, a Norteño gang, was the last of 8 original defendants to receive punishment for the crimes, which included murder, federal prosecutors said. The U.S. District Judge William Alsup received the stiffest sentence for gang leader David Martinez, 34, who received 18 years in prison. Martinez and Ruben Quiros, 29, who was sentenced to 10 years, committed a robbery leading to a high-speed chase during which shots were fired at a victim, the prosecutor said. Most May Day celebrations held throughout California on Friday and Saturday were peaceful, but in Oakland, they were not. Protesters from an estimated crowd of 400 people broke windows in front of downtown Oakland banks and other businesses, along with the windshields of vehicles in a car lot. Oakland police said Friday night's crowd was larger and angrier than expected. Police arrested a dozen people on charges of burglary, failing to disperse, and vandalism. The Port of Oakland was also closed for 8 hours. On Friday, the California State Assembly passed the Medical Cannabis Organ Transplant Act, which means that a decision about the recipient of an organ transplant can't be based on the recipient's legal medical cannabis use. In the past, several Californians who needed transplants were denied because they used medical marijuana, even though it was legal for them to do so. The bill needs to pass the California State Senate and then receive Governor Brown's signature. A federal appeals court decided on Friday that California may require charities that raise money in the state to disclose the name of contributors who gave more than $5,000 in a single year. The group, the Center for Competitive Politics, plans to appeal this ruling, which they think threatens First Amendment speech rights. As the environment changes with the drought and climate change, scientists say they expect a rise and decline of various species of fish in California lakes and fish farms. Catfish populations are expected to increase as they do well in higher temperature water. While it's expected that the population of sturgeon, which requires cool water, will decrease. One example is the Calaveras Trout Farm in Merced County, which lost 2 million fish last year because the water in their tanks became too warm. The drought in California is causing a boon for insects, but not a welcome one for farmers. Insects, such as scale, are increasing in numbers, destroying agricultural crops and other plants. Not only does scale destroy crops by sucking the sap from twigs and branches, but the lack of moisture due to the drought stresses trees, making them more susceptible to scale and other pests. In addition to the problem with scale, the drought has accelerated the artichoke-eating plume moth's life cycle, so that now there are 2 or more generations of them per year than in previous years. We'll be back in a minute, folks, with our local news.
SSS Multimedia is sending you smoke signals, providing their clients with the ultimate communication and multimedia marketing, distribution, production, and web-based services. They feature high-def video equipment and quality audio sound. SSS is your multimedia source, from graphics for business cards to television production, radio, live sound, and everything in between. SSS is sending you smoke signals. Get your message out with SSS Multimedia. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@sssmultimedia.com.
Last Thursday night, a motorist in a black 2013 Dodge Start hit a telephone pole on Main Street in Lakeport in front of the Hospice thrift store on South Main. The pole broke in half, requiring motorists to use caution while driving through the area. Authorities are investigating the accident, but do not suspect drugs or alcohol to be a factor. The Lakeport Police is using a 3D crime scene scanner, which will allow them to recreate the scene electronically so investigators can study the accident from different angles. Hidden Valley Lake Union Golf Course workers have been on strike since April 21st. They say that the Hidden Valley Lake Association is participating in unfair labor practices, and the workers want to reestablish negotiations on their expired contract. Both sides say the other is refusing to bargain in good faith, resulting in a stalemate. Last week, the Lake County Board of Supervisors approved a request for funds for a tule leaf mitigation and replanting bank project. The funds would come from a grant from the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Natural Resource Conservation Service and would help clean up Clear Lake. About 80% of Clear Lake's natural tule wetlands have been lost over the past decades due to farming and other land uses. The goal of planting more tule is to reduce algae blooms in the lake as they filter sediment and nutrients. Also last week, the County Board of Supervisors approved the continuation of a declaration stating that the present-day drought is a local emergency. California counties are required to renew declarations of emergencies every 30 days in order to receive funding relief from the state, and Lake County has been in a state of emergency because of the drought since last March. Experts expect the drought to last at least through 2016. The Board of Supervisors approved an agreement with Roseville-based company Oscar Larson and Associates to determine the best potential use of lake algae as a resource. The president of the company, Kenneth Davlin, suggested that Lake County stop looking at algae as a public works project expense and look at it as a resource. For example, Clear Lake algae can be made into bio-crude oil or could be used to create compost. In addition to finding uses for the lake algae, the boards agreed their first goal is to eradicate the poisonous algae from the lake. As motorcycle fatalities and injuries have increased in California, the California Highway Patrol and Office of Traffic Safety have stepped up their efforts to promote safety and education, highlighted by Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month in May. In 2013, motorcycle collisions resulted in 475 fatalities and 13,143 injured victims. In 2012, 467 people were killed and 12,617 were injured. Nationwide, motorcyclists made up 14% of all vehicle-related fatalities in 2013, up from about 9% in 2004, according to National Highway Traffic Safety Administration data. The leading cause of death for Americans 15 to 20 years old is motor vehicle collisions, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and the California Highway Patrol's goal is to reduce the death rate among young drivers as a result of these collisions. The CHP's Start Smart program is aimed at helping newly licensed and future licensed teenage drivers understand the critical responsibilities of driving and to understand that accidents happen, but collisions are 100% preventable. The Clear Lake Area California Highway Patrol will offer free Start Smart traffic safety class for newly licensed and teenage drivers and their parents or guardians. The class will run approximately 2 hours and will be offered on Wednesday, May 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Upper Lake High School cafeteria at 675 Clover Valley Road in Upper Lake. Madison Serpa, a junior at Lower Lake High, has been accepted into the Loop Abroad summer program in Thailand. She was accepted based on her academic record, professional references, demonstrated interest in giving unselfishly, and learning about leadership. She will be attending a high school veterinary program and experienced Thailand elephant sessions. She will be volunteering and working alongside veterinarians to care, diagnose, and treat animals at the Dog Rescue and Elephant Sanctuary in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Madison needs $4,500 to attend this program. She is also collecting dog collars, leashes, and toys to take with her to Thailand. Sponsors will receive a handmade thank you card featuring her personally crafted elephant or paw stamp, plus a handwritten note and photo of her work in Thailand. If you would like to become a sponsor of Madison's journey, visit her fundraising page at www.youcaring.com. Search for Madison Serpa. Donations can also be mailed to P.O. Box 3071 in Clear Lake. To contact Madison, email is madison.serpa97@yahoo.com. The Kindness and Generosity Scholarship Fund application period is open for the upcoming 8-week compassion-based mindfulness for stress reduction, personal clarity, and emotional freedom courses, which begin in Lakeport on Tuesday, May 19th, at Main Street Gallery, and on Thursdays, May 21st, at the Unity Clear Lake Center in Lower Lake. Applications will be accepted through May 10th and can be found at www.compassion-mindfulness.com/courses.html. Local mindfulness teacher and life coach Joanne Sakato, M.A., offers the scholarship for those wishing to take the 8-week course who may not otherwise be able to attend. Coming up next is weather and sports. We'll be back in a few.
The taxman's taken all my dough and left me in my stately home, blazing on a sunny afternoon. And I can't sail my yacht, he's taken everything I got. All I've got's this sunny afternoon.
Manticorp Tax and Accounting can help you minimize taxation, establish a corporate presence, and save you money. Our over 25 years of experience in domestic and international taxation and incorporation services makes us the best at what we do. Your first consultation at Manticorp is always free, and our discounted rates guarantee you will not end up paying for what you don't get. Try Manticorp today. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@manticorpusa.com.
In weather, this week will bring cooler temperatures than we saw last week and over the weekend, with sunny skies through Wednesday and a high of 79 today. Winds are from the southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. In the evening, there will be a low of 49. Winds will be from the west-southwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour. On Tuesday, we will see a high of 77 with west-northwest winds at less than 5 miles per hour, but will be increasing to 10 to 20 miles per hour. At night, there will be a low of 48. Winds will be from the west at 10 to 15 miles an hour. On Wednesday will bring us a high of 74. Winds breezy out of the west-northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. And once again, there is no rain in the forecast. In sports, we had a very busy weekend. Floyd Merriweather Jr., the 30-year Mayweather Jr., the 38-year-old with the baby face and the unblemished professional boxing record, beat Manny Pacquiao, Philippine senator, on Saturday with unanimous decision in what was considered the highest-grossing bout in history. The purse, the majority of from pay-per-view revenue from several million American households paying about $90 each to watch, was estimated to be roughly $300 million. The contract called for Mayweather to receive 60% win or lose. The favorite, American Pharoah, won the 141st running of the Kentucky Derby on a sun-filled Saturday at Churchill Downs. American Pharoah, who was ridden by last year's Derby-winning jockey Victor Espinoza, completed the feat in front of an announced crowd of 170,513, which broke the previous record in 2012. Espinoza secured his third Derby victory, having won previously with War Emblem and California Chrome. With a 22-point, 7-assist game by Stephen Curry in Game 1, the Warriors won the first playoff game against the Grizzlies. The Warriors won by 13 points and took a 1-0 lead in the series. They're now won 21 straight games, including playoffs at Oracle Arena. Reports leaked out that Steph Curry will win the 2014-15 NBA Most Valuable Player Award, and while we don't have official word or voting tallies for his MVP, we do have this amazing MVP season. By the way, folks, we just got word that he actually did win the award this year. Yeah. With a win yesterday, the Giants swept the LA Angels over the weekend. The Giants are now in third place in their division, overtaking the Diamondbacks and Rockies. My poor Diamondbacks are now in last place, folks. The Oakland A's, who are also in third place in their division, took 2 out of 3 games this weekend from the Texas Rangers, who now are 7.5 games out of first place. Never mind, folks. My wife's making nasty remarks about my own sports teams here. In local sports, Elisa Atkins knocked in 2 runs on her 18th birthday, and Rachel Wingler pitched a 3-hitter as the Clear Lake Cardinals built a big lead early and cruised past the Kelseyville Knights 8-1 in North Central League One women's softball action on Friday afternoon in Kelseyville. The Knights are now 4-8 in league play and 6-12 overall. League leading Clear Lake is now 9-1 in their division and 13-5 overall. In other action, Cloverdale beat Middletown 3-1. In Middletown, the Cloverdale Eagles paralyzed a dropping fly ball in center field into a 2-run first inning, the difference in their win over Middletown Mustangs. Winning pitcher Tian Edens stopped Middletown on 3 hits, striking out 12 and walking none. Losing pitcher Renee Edwards scattered 5 hits, struck out 11, including her 200th batter of the season, and also walked none. Cloverdale improved to 8-1 in league and is in a virtual tie for first place with Clear Lake, who is 9-1. Middletown fell to 5-5 in league play and 10-8 overall. In men's baseball, Cloverdale 8, Middletown 1. Again in Middletown, trailing 1-0 since the first inning, the Cloverdale Eagles exploded for 7 runs in the top of the 5th to beat the Middletown Mustangs and take over sole possession of second place in the NCL 1 standings. Cloverdale moved to 8-3 in the league standings, while Middletown fell to 6-3 and 9-9 overall. In other action, Lower Lake beat Willits 8-7. The Lower Lake Trojans withstood a 5-run Willits bottom of the 7th to edge the Wolverines and win their second league game of the year. It was nice to see them hitting the baseball for a change, Lower Lake coach John McCarthy said of the Trojans, who are now 2-10 in league play and 4-16 overall. It's nice to see the Trojans win another league game. Tony Jones pitched all 7 innings for the win and went 2 for 4 with an RBI, part of Lower Lake's 13-hit attack. Michael James led the offense with 3 hits, and Izzy Gura and Sean McCarthy added 2 apiece. Now for our final word. This picture shows 6 water spouts emanating from a volcanic eruption from Kilauea volcano in Hawaii. brought on by the intense heat of lava flow. This is an award-winning photo by photographer Bruce Amori, owner of Extreme Exposure's Fine Art Gallery in Hilo, received the Winland Smith Rice International Award for his lava photo titled Volcanic Vortices, which was displayed at the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History's annual exhibition. His winning photograph was selected from almost 20,000 submissions from photographers in 46 countries. That does it for today. I appreciate you folks joining us. LCM TV News can be seen on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon live here at lcm-tv.com and anytime on the archive page at lakehomemagazine.com. Join us again on Wednesday. Our next live program will be aired at 3 p.m. with Joni Lane and A Positive Light. Have a good day.